want to thank you for joining us today here at We want to thank you for joining us today here at... Oh, shut up. I'm going to get it. We want to thank you here for joining us today here. So, moving on to our other, to our next, what the hell is this shit again? Moving on to our next, what? As well as the as well as, so that we... Do you think I could do radio?
You had to pay for it.
Oh, God, I hate you.
What's new? Because I need therapy.
Can you tell the difference in the quality of the video?
Unfortunately, yes, because your face blur.
What are you doing?
I am standing because I am getting swamp ass.
Dude, the one cheek sneak doesn't work when everybody's staring at you. Did you not notice I increased the size significantly?
No, my goodness. I'm also dyslexic, Gert.
What?
The system is down.
Is it?
If you have any feedback, other tips and tricks, or topics you'd like to discuss, please send them to us.
So let's get into it, you guys. Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian.
Supposed to be guest.
There's not in the room yet.
Oh, I'm your co-host, Brandon.
And we are coming to you live from the brand new Crit Academy studios. Woot!
What the hell did you just say?
I don't know.
Did you say hoot?
Hoot,
Yeet?
woot, yeet, whatever. We hope to inspire you with creative content to bring with you on your next adventure. All right, let's move into our main topic. Today we're going to be discussing the first browser-based 3D virtual tabletop for any role-playing games. Can we welcome our guests?
Hey guys.
Hey, welcome. We're so excited to have Jerry Holmes and Ron Gilbert for joining us, the creators of this amazing SceneGrinder 3D virtual tabletop. I am super excited to talk about the main topic today. So before we get into it, do you guys want to give yourselves a little introduction about who you are and kind of how you came to creating this program?
Sure.
All right. I'll rattle first. Okay, so basically, it's not just us. There's a whole team behind it. We're all a bunch of lifetime gamers. We've been doing the corporate thing for decades, building big software and stuff, and finally decided, you know what? We're bored with COVID, so let's go ahead and go with the dream project. But
Yeah.
So it's Jerry and I. Jim's another software developer. My brother Steve, who's been in IT he's the older brother, so I can give his age, but since the 80s.
That's okay.
And he also going old school back to the 80s. He used to work for West End Games. If anybody's ever heard of Paranoia, the RPG game, he was one of the people that was involved in developing that, writing some modules.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yep, his wife Tracy is an amazing artist. And then also we've got Dina, Jerry's significant other, that is a marketing expert.
Yeah.
Very fast.
We kind of allow these other people to call themselves developers, even though Ron is a project manager. Don't really know what he does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool story. There's lots of growth there. What a cool journey. But we're here for SceneGrinder. So can you tell us kind of what is SceneGrinder beyond the kind of description we've already given? And, you know, how does it really stand out from the rest of the virtual tabletop niche?
Okay. Yeah, because we looked at the market and it's like, okay, yeah, there are a million different virtual tabletops out there. So we kind of had three goals with SceneGrinder going into it. First one is it had to be dead easy to use. So that's why we went browser based, got a really simple licensing thing. And the other thing is, for easy to use, you got to support the game system rules, but we wanted to make that easy. So you don't need to be a programmer to add a game system to track all your character info and manage all the dice and modifiers. It's pretty simple. If you can do like basic spreadsheet formulas, you can create that visualizations for your system.
Sure.
And so that was easy use. And I'll let Jerry talk about immersion.
Yeah, we decided to go 3D. Not only we're browser based, but we're 3D in the browser on the cell phones. And our tenet on that is useful 3D. So we're talking not just show 3D blocks moving around and 3D characters, but from a DM's perspective, I get to jump into to the perspective of the NPCs, look down from a wall, see that I can't see that character over there behind those trees, but I can see that guy and I can see that guy, and there's my buddies over there still on the wall with me. That's from the DM side.
And just throw, that's
Yeah.
also, you can throw yourself in first person too, and the GM can do that for all
Right.
of the players.
Seeing,
That's pretty cool.
we originally thought that was going to be a toy way back a couple years ago. Just but I use it all the time while I'm running my Friday night games, just to jump into the perspective of an NPC and see what they see and tell the story from their perspective, make the decisions from their perspective is
Right.
awesome. And the players
And
who I had a game group, well, it was this group actually, where one PC got the high ground on the top of a tower, and he perched up there and was calling the shots to the rest of the game group because he could see where they all were. They couldn't see where they were. They were running through hedges and over walls, but he was directing the battle from the tower top using perspective, and that's just
That is so
That
cool.
sounds really nice.
Because and when you play like a regular tabletop game, typically it's a top-down view, and technically the players can see most everything. So having a virtual way that you can kind of limit that really is a powerful tool for when you want to surprise the player characters, because the players themselves don't know now and can't make
Yeah.
decisions based on it. Because let's be honest, people metagame even if they don't mean to.
Sure.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Now, the program manages game system rules. Can you expand more on how that works?
Yeah. Basically, we've got what we call a template where you define, what makes up a character. What are the attributes and what can they have, like spells and feats and stuff like that. And then you can have tables listing those things, and then you just basically link those together using, like I said, it's not spreadsheet formulas, but it's just like basic spreadsheet formulas. So like if you're using Excel, it's like doing a VLOOKUP formula or an if statement or something like that. So a little technical, but nothing, you don't need to be, I'm not a programmer, but I can create templates for it. And then once you do that, then when you're actually playing the game and they say, I want to do my fireball, then the game system knows that, okay, it's a fireball, 30-foot radius. It plops out a template. Do a couple clicks, make the rolls. It'll roll the correct dice, and it basically handles everything for you. You're still in control, and you can still modify things as you want to. But with those customizations, it just makes it really easy to play any game system.
That is really cool.
Does that mean that you technically programmed all the spells in D&D?
Kind of yes, but no. What SceneGrinder does is we sucked in all the spells from the SRD, and they're in there because that's what we can legally do. But as a dungeon master, you can extend that spell table with whatever you want, make up your own stuff if you want to.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And then same with all the rules, the same with that base core template. You can go in and tinker with it and make it do whatever you want to do. But for 5th edition, we
Is
stuck
it
in all
easy to have multiple
swear on this, right?
settings for different systems? Very easy.
Yeah. Which settings?
Like if I'm playing 5e one day and now I want to play Fate, is there like a switch to jump between the game systems?
Yeah,
or
what
is it
we
all
do is
kind of just embedded into one, and you kind of got to pick and choose what you use?
Yeah, no, you can, and we've done that before because we did when we were testing different systems. Fate was one of the ones that we were testing along with 5e. At any time, you can go into the SceneGrinder and pull in another rule set, and then for a character, you can just flip which rule set that character is using.
You can even have different game systems in the exact same scene simultaneously. Why you want to do that? I'm not sure. We use it for testing, but sure.
That's kind of cool.
All right. And since SceneGrinder is in 3D, how do you guys go about including monsters? And when obviously with a normal VTT, you just create tokens. What does SceneGrinder offer in that regard?
Both, in fact. We're working real hard. In fact, that's what we're using a lot of the Kickstarter resources for, is to build up a library of 3D versions of all the standard monsters you've come to love and expect. then we allow dungeon masters to import anything 3D wise they can build or find as well, and we're constantly adding to that. We also support collapsing into 2D mode, so you can run SceneGrinder, new product, SceneGrinder, as if it was a more traditional tabletop, 2D tabletop, in total 2D mode if you want to. And if you don't have a 3D model for a monster, you can put in a stand-in token, or you can show just the 2D token representation for it. So yeah.
So is there any plans? I know before the show we had talked briefly about expansions. Is there a hope to like allow some sort of easy monster like creator? Now when I'm thinking like something like Hero Forge, or where you just pick like parts and you make something. Was that something that could be in the future of this potential program? If,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty soon. It's coming up
Yeah.
on the roadmap.
Yeah, it's not the
love it.
initial release,
Yeah.
but
Right,
it's
right.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
and
like
we
that
also plan on
that's something
integrating.
that's on your roadmap, because that means you're already thinking ahead of what
Mhm.
you're
Oh yeah,
going to want
yeah.
to do, which means we as consumers can plan on it being more than just what's coming out with the Kickstarter, which is great.
Right.
We
And
do have a question from chat.
oh yeah,
Does it work for mobile browsers or just desktop only?
both.
It's both.
It's
So
both.
does that do people need newer phones to run the full 3D, or is it going to, how does it respond? I mean, because a lot of people have a variety of aged phones, so like
Right.
how far back does that go before I won't be able to utilize it?
Sure. For weaker devices, you would have to tone down your your visual settings, maybe render things in less detail. And for really old devices, we call it pancake mode, 2D world. Uh, you can collapse everything down into just 2D, and then you still get all your perspective that you would expect to get. Your walls are blocked out. You can't see what you're not supposed to see. But for those kind of devices, we go all the way down to pretty much 2D
Yeah.
at
So
that
that's pretty
point.
cool. So if
Mhm.
I'm understanding this right, the different players can have different perspectives.
Mhm.
Or does the DM or GM have to say, okay, Billy's got a crappy phone and a crappy laptop, so we're going to have to play in flat mode so that he can use it? Or is it just, it can be turned on and off individually per player?
Individually, each player
That's cool.
can create that setting. Now, we'll be honest, this is in our alpha stage right now. We haven't quite worked out whether those people seeing it in 3D have any kind of advantage player wise over in 2D, but that can be smoothed over by the GM
Oh,
if
for sure.
necessary. But there's some little edge cases like that. But for the most part, it's individual settings.
Yeah, and that's
That
one of
is
the things that we
awesome.
do is we don't restrict what people do with their scenes. So if you want to come out and get these, absolutely phenomenal models for your scene that, video game quality, because you've got my gaming laptop or something like that to play with, you can do that. But then if you've got a player that's got a 3-year-old phone, they'll just see the world differently.
Sure. That's cool. I think that's really cool. So uh, there's something that really interests me in your Kickstarter and all your comments. The auto targeting AOE. Am I understanding that it's no longer you have to place your cones? It kind of knows based on your token location. Is that correct?
Well, what we'll do is we'll default it based on where you're facing.
Okay.
That's where it's normally going to be. But then it's real quick to just shift it around a little bit if you need to. And then basically once you do that, you got it where you want it. You click a button, it targets everything underneath it. Click another button, do the die roll with the correct dice, and then it goes off to the GM, and
Yeah.
then
And the GM gets to see everything in that area, in that AOE, and approve or disapprove. Even have everybody roll saving throws, dexterity checks, whatever, to get into or out of the effect or half damage or whatever. And then you click apply, and it's all applied to the appropriate NPCs or whatever's in the area effect, and you're good to go.
So
It makes playing large battles much nicer.
yeah. So if you've got an AOE that does like a status effect, is there like icon tracking and stuff like that? Like you can put little status
It's
icons
like,
or
oh,
anything?
this guy's poisoned, and
The
this
reason I
guy's
ask
got
is because
darkness.
because you got this whole fancy 3D system. Are you going to have one that's poison that makes them flash green or anything like that?
Right now, we're going as far as there are status effects listed on the characters' avatars. The DM can easily glance down and see, and it's always shown for the player for whatever character or characters they're playing.
Yep.
Right now, it's a notification in the avatar. We're exploring putting that effect on the actual 3D model. We're getting there. We're just not there yet. Yeah.
I definitely like to. I highly recommend if you're watching this. I'm already in love with this product, so I cannot. And after talking to you guys, even knowing that you have a roadmap of all these things you want to do as a customer, that's huge because not only do I know what I'm getting now, but I can look forward to what I might be getting in the future. Right? What do you guys think?
I'm looking forward to it by
Yeah,
far. Now it seems like many other virtual tabletops, it includes character sheets. Now, are
Mhm.
those customizable? Are they good for every game
Yeah.
system?
Your character sheet in our case is the view that represents all the data about your character, and the dungeon master who either pulls in from the marketplace or shared version of the rules in the first place gets one automatically, and everybody uses that one. But we're exploring player individual customization.
That's cool.
But for the most part, yeah, the character sheets are completely customizable per
Yeah,
game
that's
type.
something that
Yeah.
as a
Mhm.
player would be very appealing, I think. Because I know people already like to get, doodle on their things and make them, unique. Ooh, Andrew just asked a really good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've also got stuff already where like you can have hotkeys set up to jump to specific pages in the character sheet, so you don't have to drill down, through things to get to that. If you want to get straight to your spells, you can jump straight there, and just try to make it easy for everybody.
And one of our users, Andrew, once again asks, can you import your character sheet for 5e, for example, from D&D Beyond or any other source?
It's not there in the alpha, but it'll be coming in sometime during the beta.
Sure.
That's awesome because
Nice touch.
a
That's good.
lot of people are getting into D&D Beyond, so
Sure.
allowing them to import their resources a good next step.
Mhm.
Sartran wants to say that she loves that you made a mode for older tech. It's appreciated, so
I
kudos.
was gonna say maybe 9 out of 10 games that I play on start playing, my players always asking, "Hey, what can I bring my D&D Beyond character onto here?" I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, we get
Well,
that all the time too, so we
well,
know
it's
we
not
have to
all
get that one
homebrew
in there.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
I had somebody bringing homebrew into mine. I was like, "What is this?" It's off of D&D Wiki. D&D Wiki is code for everything is broken.
Hey, what's this meteor death spell I'm looking at?
That's a cantrip? What? My boss is dead already. All right. So
Yep. Like one of the features that you guys are advertising is your World Manager feature. What can you tell our viewers about that?
Go for it.
Yeah, our world manager really is how you connect all the locations in the world. It manages two things: how players can jump from location to location in explore mode, and we'll talk about that shortly. But it's also all the handouts and information about any particular location from the world level all the way down into the various kingdoms, regions, countries, down right on down to the dungeon level or encounter level. So you end up as you build your campaign with a lot of information collated together, and it's just a really good organization system to keep that all together.
Yeah, and so as a GM, you can approach it whichever way you work. If you work top down, where you like to have everything centralized when you're playing your games, you can do that. But if you'd like to do, like we're running Temple Elemental Evil, and Jerry's the GM on it, he's got all of the little bits of information for each room scattered out within each room. So you can do it however you want to do it. And of course, if you scatter it out, then you can still view it at that high level. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm a big user of like World Anvil and
Mhm.
now Obsidian, so I'm excited
Mhm.
to see what how you guys how that turns out when it's fully integrated because currently I use outside programs for all that stuff outside of like any virtual tabletop. So to have it all kind of into a one-stop shop place is super valuable as a DM where I don't got to have 20 tabs open, which I think is one of your promo. Less time doing paperwork, more time gaming, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
Obsidian.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. Is we we really want to do as much as possible within SceneGrinder so that people don't have to jump out to a whole bunch of different apps when they're trying to play their games.
Sure.
As an example, as a DM, you click on an encounter, you click on a room, and it'll drill down. If you have a PDF, like Temple of Elemental Evil has a 146-page PDF that comes along with it. Who wants to try to find it? It brings you right to the page and right to the encounter, so you can read it off the original PDF, and you have your own notes in SceneGrinder as well.
That's handy.
That is really cool. So you have a map editor built in. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that for 3D maps or only 3D maps, or does it include existing maps? How does that work as the GM?
Yeah, you can pull in existing maps. That's usually what we do is we just grab a 2D map off the internet and then you can modify it. But it is fully 3D. You can deform the terrain. You can create mountains. You can create oceans.
Walls, buildings.
Yep.
Yeah. The workflow, if you have an existing module, like what we're doing testing, for instance, is we grab somebody's map off the internet that's usually out there for an older module. We take it, we lay it down, then we put all the 3D stuff over top of it, and then delete the map. Or you can keep it there if you want.
Yeah.
Or you can start from scratch. Either way.
All right. Something that interests me that is really cool about a good map maker, which are not all map makers are created equal. The thing that I think is interesting is there any plan to include some sort of can you do like importing of existing assets, like because it's 3D, for instance, I just got an app on my phone that lets me scan things and turn it into a 3D picture. Could I do that with like miniatures that I already have, or if I got a really cool Lego set of a castle, can I get a 3D slice of that and include it into my mapping? Is that a service you're planning on offering or do offer already for it?
Yes, you can import any GLTF, GLTB, STL format from out that you find. Add, for instance, I walked into it.
Oh,
What's that?
That is awesome. You just opened up the whole world to awesome.
I walked into a store in Atlanta and 3D scanned myself and surprised the testing group by having a 3D version of me walking around the world. It was a little creepy.
It was very creepy.
Oh, dude,
you can do that.
That is amazing. That is groundbreaking right now, because everyone that's bought 3D printers and has made their own files or downloaded files for 3D printing can now incorporate them. Even on like Hero Forge offers that, right?
Yes, they do.
Huh. Looks like MZ88 stuff's going to be much more popular again.
Yeah, dude, kudos to whoever thought of that, because that is genius.
We could do Clash of Clans about this thing.
Yeah, right. People actually scanning. So we do run a Clash of Classes where we do player versus player. The idea of somebody getting an STL or SLT or whatever the 3D file is of themselves, and literally having them dressed as wizards and fighters and duking it. Oh man, you guys have just that's next level.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's any other VTT that does that.
No.
I mean, Foundry does a lot, but I don't think that's one of them. So wow, I am impressed. Color me tickled. Now I was already really excited, but now you just like took it up a huge notch.
There was the one you were talking about before, but I think that's only just 3D stuff.
Is what I'm reading in the chat actually what I think it says?
I was wondering that myself too.
Okay. So I do have to. So we just.
Really got Garwin excited.
Yeah. So we just.
Thanks, Garwin.
That was. That. I don't know how to address this. Thank you, Garwin, for the amazing support. All right. So moving on. I'm gonna want that. Okay. All right. Let's go on. I can't think straight now. Damn it, dude! All the polls she did is you being mean to me. I'm gonna hurt my feelings. All right. So, what are some other groundbreaking concepts that you guys made? Because one that really, really got me excited, not nearly as much as the introduction of 3D models, but is the automating of buying and selling for characters. Because I'll tell you what. most people would argue that is the most boring part of any RPG. Not always, but generally the way it's played, it's relatively uneventful. So can
Yeah.
you kind of touch a little bit on the automated buying and then maybe some other groundbreaking concepts?
I will say, from having one of our non-current team members we played with for years and years, that loved to spend an entire night just haggling over buying and selling gear. It's like everybody else just sits around and does nothing. But yeah, so automated NPCs. Actually, do you want to field this one, Jer?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually the flagship feature of one of the other team members here. We all have things we love about this, and we're all pushing for. And this is one of Steve Gilbert's, and he's made that a very real part of this project, where you can configure a shop owner to buy, sell, haggle, whatever inventory you assign to that particular shop, and deduct the appropriate coinage from the player character, or if the character sells something, add it back and all that. And even dip in a little bit to haggling rules using skills on the character. And the NPC that is that's automated, if it gets into some kind of trouble, like the player character decides to stab it, it can call for the GM, and then the action stops, and the GM takes over at that point. So
yeah, and you'll be able to put rules in place, like elves get a 10% discount or something like that, or if you got you can, if you wanted to, you can create your own factions and have faction discounts and stuff. It'll be pretty much it's up to the GM how far they want to take it. And also it goes a lot farther than just buying and selling goods. Because one thing, SceneGrinder is available 24/7. GMs can always turn it off if they want to. But if you want to set up some like midweek stuff for your players to do, like maybe they just hit a new town at the end of the game last Friday, and so you want to kind of introduce them to the town, you can scatter some NPCs around the town with clues about what's going on in the town. And then you can just tell your players, okay, on Wednesday night, you can log in for a few hours and wander around the town and talk to NPCs and try and figure things out. And then when we start playing on Friday, you'll know what the town's like, or maybe you'll find some quests for you guys to do.
Or there's always that base town near the dungeon or whatever, the DM can just open that up. The PCs can go anywhere without the DM even having to log in at that point. And again, if something bad happens, the action stops, the DM is notified and can pick up with it whenever they want to. So
Yep. And you can even let them go from scene to scene if you want to. So like you've got a town scene, and then you've got like a special scene within it for maybe the favorite tavern or something like that. You can just let the PCs in between game sessions just wander around those different scenes and see what they can find.
What do you guys think about that?
That's handy. Very handy.
Like,
Insane.
what are some unique uses you can get out? Because the first thing that jumps out of my mind, they mentioned the faction discounts and stuff. I like the idea of offering like a special an item that's only available to, say, somebody that speaks Thieves' Cant.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
somebody that is part of a specific faction or group or background, maybe in general, right? Like the criminals get a special 5-finger discount on anybody that walks by or something like that. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming ideas, but I like that idea because not only can it just automate a lot of the more annoying things, but it makes it more engaging and easily to predict rewards for the players that have these different things, like criminal background or acolyte or whatever sailor background. Hey, you're a sailor. Just so you know, I just got this new anchor in. It also doubles as a axe. I don't know, but something. Well, whatever. Yeah. So, and that's kind of what I'm loving about this, and the fact that it's going to continue to grow and evolve is something I'm personally very excited for. So I guess, is there, before we move to the end, are there any things you guys wanted to talk about now that we've kind of asked some of our questions, or if you guys got some specific questions you want to ask?
Well, I mean, one of the nice things about SceneGrinder is not only is it a virtual tabletop, it is also a platform. It is a content platform. So one of the features that we're pulling in shortly onto our roadmap is its ability to be a content publishing mechanism, where you push a button and the entire campaign that you've laid out gets turned into a PDF format, or a self-hosted static website of some kind that you can use in other venues other than SceneGrinder, which kind of fits in with our philosophy of let's not be insular with other tabletops. Let's try to be as inclusive as possible. So if you want to use SceneGrinder to create cool maps, print them out, organize your content, put it in a PDF, use it in other systems, go for it.
So there's a really great question that just showed up. Could you, when this SceneGrinder is running, is it something that the players can jump in at any point, whether or not the GM is there? Like, can you just jump into the map? Because Andrew talks about having like a pre-session town wandering.
Yes,
it'd be interesting.
He gets it. He gets it. He gets the prize. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. As long as the GM is given permission to do that. Dungeon Master allows the character to go through certain doors or not, or to jump to certain scenes or not. As long as the DM has set that up, then yes, that is exactly what was intended.
Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, guys, just so you know, I'm not shopping, so if the town is open, you have until next week to buy stuff. If you don't buy anything, too bad.
And if
exactly.
the player does something wrong, the DM gets a ping saying, "Hey, the game needs your attention for a moment."
Oh, that's a great one. Brandon just tried to pilfer something from the town market. You should know that the magistrate has him naked and is torturing him in a dungeon at the moment. Yeah, he'll be all right.
So it's in the end zone Y. Got it.
The thing I love about this, first of all, I love that you're so inclusive of all the different variety of game types. Especially with Spelljammer releasing soon. I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I saw some details on space, sci-fi style material.
Yes.
So that to me was really great because the idea of having a giant 3D ship battle just sounds awesome.
Have you been monitoring our Discord server? Because we've been having a lot of those discussions there about ship battles.
If we don't properly support sci-fi and all that comes along with it, I'm pretty sure some of these guys will hunt us down and kill us. So we're doing that.
First. Make sure
sea battles, naval battles, aerial battles, sci-fi content, ships, modern stuff inside of sci-fi ships, a starship, ventures inside of them, stuff like that. Yep, all there, all there.
Sounds amazing.
Yep,
and it's so. All right, so
and the project's funded already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're 300% funded, if I'm not mistaken, and growing, right? How many days left?
Still 17. Like 20 days or something like that. So,
something like that. Yeah.
Got some time, so I'm excited.
I'm hoping the 17 days.
So before we close out here, we're actually going to show everyone this really great Kickstarter video that you put together.
Yeet.
Welcome to SceneGrinder, the only virtual tabletop that gives you the choice of using traditional 2D maps or going completely immersive with a 3D experience for you and your players. And we do this entirely in your web browser, either on your desktop or your mobile device. Supporting any gaming system, SceneGrinder lets you manage all D&D editions, Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, Fate, or any campaign you can imagine or create. Regardless of how large or small, combat encounters are a cinch. Keep track of turns, rounds, and never forget that player's held action again. SceneGrinder even auto-targets based on area effects, applying appropriate damage and modifiers. SceneGrinder, the dawn of a new age in virtual tabletops. More gaming, less work.
That's the one. I love that line.
And we have some like 50 some odd videos out there on the YouTube channel demonstrating all kinds of features, and so
definitely check them out. You guys do a lot of the in-depth, like how to create things, and I think that some of them are really cool. So before we close out of our main topic here, what?
And that's a good.
Oh, damn!
It is. VR is absolutely on our roadmap. Yep.
Yes!
And Augmented
Yeah,
reality,
that's
put the
it.
whole scene
Thank
on your
you for
table.
that question.
No,
And AR.
as a project manager, I'll say
Uh,
not initially, but
Not
Project
initially. That's okay. It's on the roadmap, so that's exciting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sartrin
No,
does say this product sounds amazing. Thanks so much for bringing on the show. I had this. That's what we do here at Crit Academy. We only show you guys stuff that's awesome,
Only sure it's worth it.
except for my face, apparently, Ian. Anyways, so before we close out, you guys want to give yourself in SceneGrinder one more plug?
Sure. Yeah. Go to the Kickstarter. Support us. Give us love.
and if you have
Yes.
any questions about what it does or how it does it, go to our YouTube page, check out the dev blog video playlist. Lots of good stuff there.
So,
2
and
words for this.
enter Discord. Jump into Discord. Great
Yes,
discussions
join
happening
the
on Discord.
Discord. I'll be
Yeah.
joining into that soon. So I'm really excited for this. Like I said, I'm so glad to see the success you guys have gained. Sorry, I'm getting cold. If you're listening to this in the future or before the Kickstarter ends, go to rebrand.ly/SceneGrinder, back it today, or once it launches, if they have a pre-order button, make sure to press that. So we want to take a moment and say thank you guys for joining us today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We did.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
It was awesome. You guys have really put a lot of love and a lot of work into this, and I'm excited to see where it's going to be in a year or 2 years.
Awesome.
And go by Garro's comments, you guys definitely earned that 1 hour on the show.
Thank you.
Apparently, we earned you. What's that say?
$1,000.
$1,000. So
Nice.
Oh, cool.
way to
We'll be
go,
back next
Garwin.
week then.
That
Yeah.
is some dedication.
Oh,
And
wow. Much
Sartrin
love.
just backed it, so you're already getting some support.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right,
Yep.
we
Thanks,
will.
guys.
We'll send you guys off with a wave. Thanks again for joining us, and can't wait to talk to you later. Congratulations.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.